What's up everyone, welcome back to another episode of I Watch a Thing and then explain to you what happened in the thing. Do you like fart jokes? Of course you do, they're the best. Now don't you wish that there was an entire movie that was just one giant fart joke? Well, you don't need to wish anymore, my friends, because that wish already came true back in 2002 with this movie. Now I'd actually already seen this movie while growing up, and in fact a lot of people I've talked to about it have as well, but I must have really internally suppressed any memory of it I had. I also unfortunately couldn't find a good online viewing or stream of this movie within 5 minutes, so I actually had to go out and buy a copy of this movie. And I don't know what happened, but I've moved apartments recently and now I can't find it. So I spent my own personal, hard-earned, worked for money for this movie, and now I don't have it. Great. So the movie opens with what I think I can confidently say is the weirdest birth-giving scene. That's it, just the weirdest scene involving birth. We see a baby on an ultrasound, which, you know, I'm not a doctor or anything, but aren't ultrasounds used for seeing the baby before giving birth? You know, to make sure it's healthy and they're way before giving birth. Also, I'm pretty sure you need to be rubbing one of those, like, things on the belly to, like, you know, see it. But, you know, I'm not a doctor, what do I know? But anyway, we can see in the ultrasound that there seems to be some sort of bubble forming underneath the baby. I wonder what that could be. The bubble gets bigger and bigger, and then the ultrasound machine starts beeping because I guess the pressure gauge went off. And we all know what happens when too much pressure builds up inside something. So Conan O'Brien's younger brother catches the baby and no one really seems too fazed. No one's really bothered that the baby just shot out of its mum, flew across the room and was caught rugby style. Everyone's just kind of relieved and they just give a little clap. Also, not to mention the trauma that would occur after being yeeted across the room. Would you throw your baby across the room? I didn't think so. Well, anyway, this is where we meet our main character of the movie, Patrick Smash. Good old Patrick Smash.
That was the first day of my life, ever.
Oh boy, I hope you like recurring jokes.
And for about 30 seconds, my mum and dad were the happiest people in the world.
Say cheese.
And then it happened.
Whoop, there it is, 2.5 minutes in and we've already got our first fart joke. The first of so many. We learn that Patrick has a bit of a problem where his farts are very frequent and very powerful. His dad tries a few methods to try and solve the problem, you know, like tying him up in a plastic bag. What? You know, again, you know, I'm not a parent. I'm not trying to say I've read my daddy books or anything like that. But aren't you meant to keep plastic bags away from little kids so they don't, you know, suffocate and die? He even leaves scissors just lying on the table next to him. Man, this dad sucks. Makes me feel not so bad about him getting blown up. He also tried connecting Patrick to a pipe, but that one didn't work either. And that particular fart was so bad that Patrick's dad went to work and never came back.
In the end, Dad decided to go to work forever.
That's right, Patrick Smash is responsible for his parents getting a divorce. Nothing like a fun family children's movie, yay! Also, his sister blames Patrick for the divorce and his mum becomes an alcoholic. Yay! We now skip ahead a bit to Patrick's first day of school, and can you guess what happens? That's right, he farts. It wasn't that hard of a question.
Patrick Smash, say hello.
And for some reason, none of the kids laugh. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but if I was 5 years old on my first day of school and some kid lets out an absolute ripper that disrupts the entire class like that, I'd be laughing my fucking ass off. You know why? Because I would be 5. But no, instead these kids just go straight to bullying.
All the kids pointed and shouted.
Except for this kid who becomes Patrick's best friend, Alan. Alan. Alan A. Allen. Patrick Smash and Alan A. Allen. It turns out that Alan has no sense of smell, that's why he didn't really react. And I guess he could still hear it and feel the vibrations, but I guess the smell is the real issue. The movie now jumps ahead again to the present day where we meet Patrick's main school bully, Doyle. Or is that Crab? Craboyle? I don't know, he's basically the same character he played in Harry Potter, but in this movie. Oh, and also Ellen is Ron Weasley in the present. Also from Harry Potter, if you didn't know. Also, did I mention that Alan is a genius? And you can tell he's a genius because he talks in the way that someone who's not a genius thinks a genius talks.
It is debatable that this stellar body holds within its gravitational pull a planetary system of any kind, let alone one that goes by the appellation of Zorg. If we widen our search to the great...
We now go to an assembly where we meet my personal favourite character of the movie, the second best tenor in the world.
The second greatest tenor in the world.
I absolutely love this guy. Mwah. I love him because the character is just so weird and the actor is just so into it. He's done singing now, so the teacher asks for silence from the students so he can give a little speech.
Let us pray that when you grow from children into sensible adults, you will have a talent close to mine.
But oh no, can you imagine what breaks the silence? I'll give you a minute to think about it. As you can imagine, this completely ruins his visit.
You have ruined Sir John's visit.
So Patrick gets kicked out of the assembly, and that was the worst day of his life.
Ever.
Why is Patrick even still invited to these assemblies? He's been at this school, what, 5 years? Surely this just happens every assembly? Why do they keep inviting him back? I don't know. Anyway, so Patrick goes home and sulks because his sister is allowed to eat beans and he's not. And then he goes and watches TV and there's a space launch happening at the moment. And we learn that it's Patrick's dream to also go to space. So he writes a letter to the space people, I guess.
I want to be a spaceman. But I have a problem. I cannot control my arse. Would that be a worry?
I just can't control my ass.
General, that was an incredible launch. You must be over the moon.
And after an oddly specific speech from the dude on the TV that just perfectly relates to Patrick's situation, he gets the revelation that he should go and ask Alan if he can help him with his problem. Only now does he think to ask his genius best friend, who is also an inventor,
I am an inventor, Patrick.
to help him out with his problem, which he would probably say is, you know, the main thing that is ruining his life. He never thought about that until now. So he goes around to Alan's to ask for help, and Alan says yes. So Patrick goes outside to wait, but there's this car just sitting there, and they start taking photos of Patrick. What? So while Patrick is waiting, we get a quick montage of him eating, and then he's still eating, and then he eats some more, and then he falls asleep, and then BAM! Alan's done. So this kid, who would consider himself to have a life-affecting and ruining problem, could have had a solution made for him in one day. Why did he never think to ask till now? And why did Alan never offer? Alan was never like, hey man, you know, I've got the weekend off if you want me to help fix your problem. I really could do it. It wouldn't even be that difficult. You know, I could do it overnight. Man, Alan's an asshole. Anyway, he presents his invention, Thunderpants. That's the name of the movie. Which work by containing the fart gas in the legs, suppressing and transferring that fart gas and storing it in this lunchbox. Then at the end of the day, putting this lunchbox into the machine, which converts the fart gas into steam. Okay. Aw, yeah, well, now we get this real badass Patrick scene where he staunches all up to his sister like, hey, yo, bitch, you think you can eat beans and I can't? And he's all like, give me that spoon. And then he takes it and he has a bite of beans. And his sister is so shocked that she can barely contain her drawer from practically being on the floor. And Patrick's so stoked that he has a flourishing sensation of victory and throws his spoon in the air in celebration. Yeah! You know what? Sounds like it was so good. I'd say that it was the best day of his life. The next day at school, Alan is checking the Thunderpants to make sure they're still working and in good condition after the wear and tear of the evening. And Patrick asks him, you know, a pretty sensitive but important to him question.
Now you've helped me with my problem. Can you help me find my unique gift? Ah, I got it. Your what? Gift? Oh, nothing could be simpler. You don't have one.
Man, Alan is an asshole. Speaking of asshole, Kraboyle comes over to steal Patrick's lunch again, but oh no, that's not his lunch. But before Patrick and Alan can warn him, he opens up the box and gets a face full of green fart powder. Grab is obviously very upset by this, and so to get back at Patrick, he ties him to the jungle gym and gets the entire school to kick the shit out of him. Man, that sucks. You know, if that were me, that would be the worst day of my life. We now go to the doctors because we learn that Patrick's problem is caused because he was born with 2 stomachs, because his mum's been too drunk to take him to the doctors up until now. They never thought to take him to a hospital this entire time. They've just been dealing with it. Oh, you know, my son can't stop farting and it's so bad that me and my husband got a divorce. oh well, nothing you can do about it. And you know, I'm not a doctor, you know, I don't want to come across claiming like I've read my medical textbooks or that I've watched every episode of Scrubs, even though I have. But I don't think being born with 2 stomachs would really amplify your farts that much. Anyway, the doctor said that Patrick has a gift.
But for some unknown reason, Mother Nature has seen fit to bestow upon little Patsy a completely useless gift.
So fuck you, Ellen. Man, you know, being told that news on that day would just feel so good. That it would make it the best day of my... After the feel-good visit at the doctor's, Patrick goes for a celebratory walk through the Osgood Musical Seminary. As you do. Which is where the second best tenor in the world is practicing his singing. But there seems to be this one high note that he just can't get to. But you know who can hit that high note? Patrick Smash. More specifically, Patrick Smash's ass. This is great. The tenor's obviously really amazed and tries to get Patrick's attention, but he runs away before he can get to him. Then a bunch of his tenor buddies come out and they all think that he is the one that made the high note. We now go to a flying competition, which I guess is an annual competition in this town. Oh well, Alan wanted to enter it and he's planning on powering his flying machine with Patrick's farts.
A handsome cash purse awaits the first man or woman who can travel 100 feet without the use of motors, engines, power cells, or fossil fuels.
Wouldn't this be the hardest, most boring, unwinnable competition ever? See, look at all of these attempts. We've got this guy with the thing he has to flap with his arms. Yeah, I wonder if that'll take off. There's this guy with, this thing, the umbrella bike, propeller man who just falls over, plane man. You can really tell the prop team just ran out of ideas for the scene because look at this. What the fuck is this? And how is it meant to fly? Anyway, we get to the end of the competition where it's Alan and Patrick's turn and everyone just acts as if they're wasting everyone's time. As if their attempt is so obviously not going to work, but they don't mind this guy who's dressed as a fucking bird. Well, they let them have their turn, so Patrick straps into his machine, Thunderpants 2, and wouldn't you know it, they fly. They fly with the power of this kid's farts.
Look at this, everyone! Carrying, waiting.
So after making it over 100 feet, making a new form of transportation the world has never seen before, they win the grand prize of £100. They even give them one of those giant fuck-off checks for £100. Normally you'd get one of those things on like Deal or No Deal or like the Grand Prix or some shit. Now that Patrick got a bit of a confidence boost, you know, feeling pretty good after winning, we get yet another badass Patrick scene. He goes and confronts Boyle Crab and we get the greatest chase scene in history. Dude, just run away. Dude, just run, like he's walking, he's not even chasing you properly. Why are you running? Oh my god, why are you going into the woods? Run away.
Freak!
Run away.
No!
Man, you know what? Dropping a bomb on your bully like that would feel so good. It would be the best day of... That good feeling is short-lived though, because when Patrick is walking back, he sees Alan getting into a black car with an agent-looking dude, who we learn later was the person taking photos of Patrick earlier. Alan gets in the car and then they just drive away. So Patrick goes and knocks on Alan's door and asks his dad, you know, what's the deal?
Let me make this perfectly clear to you, Patrick Smash. Alan has gone to another country. He won't be back.
Another country?
Like, what the fuck? Oh, and also for Patrick, it was the worst day of his life. So he sulks on home and he's very sad when suddenly... Of course, it's the one and only, the second best tenor in the world! And he offers to take Patrick on his world tenor tour, where he can fart the high note for him and he mouths over it.
We'll visit countries you never knew existed. We'll...
Other countries?
Well, naturally, yes, other countries.
What? Other countries? That's where Alan is. So you know what Patrick says to this offer?
Alright then.
He says yes.
What?
There is no reason to ask my parents or tell my school. Let's just go. And so they do. You know, I feel like there's a word for this type of situation. Oh yeah, kidnapping. So they go around the world with their scam of Patrick farting the high note and no one can tell it's a fart, so they're all super amazed, and they're now considering this guy to not be the second best tenor in the world, but the first best tenor in the world. And this guy is only number 2 now. Well, this guy's having none of that number 2 nonsense, so he storms into the hotel where they're staying to try and, you know, find a bit of dirt on them. He finds their hotel room and he does find a little bit of dirt. A little boy.
Tell me, little boy, what do you do?
And Patrick just straight up tells this guy what they're up to.
You are singing the I beat with your eyes.
So now that this guy knows that it's Patrick farting the high note, he has a little idea on how he can, you know, sabotage their plan. And that is to poison Patrick's food so he can't fart the high note. You know, just that little vial of liquid laxatives you carry around at all times. And he also just pours that green shit right on top of this white pudding, right in front of Patrick as if he won't notice. He doesn't even try to hide it.
It might just work.
Dude, if Patrick is dumb enough to eat this, then he deserves what's coming to him. Speaking of what's coming to him, that night when they're at the show and Patrick still hasn't wiped the pudding from his face, the potion is really starting to now mess with his stomach, and when it comes for his turn to do the fart high bit, he goes a little overboard. The actual best tenor in the world now jumps up and calls them out for being fake, and everyone's like, what? That wasn't a beautifully master-crafted singing voice, but it was a fart from a little boy. What?
Who is the number 1 singer in the world? And you, sir, are number 2.
Oh no, only the second best in the world? Singing isn't even worth it at this point. There's no reason to carry on, only being the second best. Well, it doesn't last that long though, because Patrick's fart earlier was so strong that it shook one of the production lights loose, and the best singer in the world fucking dies. No, seriously, this dude's dead. They come and arrest Patrick and they take him away in a van and then they take him to court over it. Stephen Fry is here for some reason and accuses Patrick of murdering the singer, even though this guy claims the bolt holding the light was actually faulty. But because he doesn't listen to opera, Stephen Fry is all like, no, you are wrong. This was an opera singer who died and you don't listen to opera and therefore you are wrong. This entire court scene makes absolutely no sense and I fucking love it. Mwah. I love that Stephen Fry is in it. I love that the court just straight up bullies this kid.
And this would be around the time that your best friend, your only friend...
I love that everyone in Patrick's life just straight up testifies against him without a second glance. But mostly I love that the jury finds this kid
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
So this 11-year-old kid was convicted of murder, and you'd probably think his sentence would be spend the next 10 years in a juvenile detention center where he can still, you know, get an education and still learn things and maybe be taught on how to be able to re-enter society when he's an adult and how he can still contribute and he can still become a normal functioning member of the world. Not quite. Also, I've been avoiding mentioning it up until now, but I really just don't think I can put it off any longer. Why the fuck is he always in green and black stripes? Seriously, as a baby, he's wearing green and black stripes. At school, he's not in his fucking uniform, he's in green and black stripes. And now at this prison, they custom make him green and black striped jumpsuits just to shoot some holes in it? I mean, there's a chance that it's the standard prison uniform, but get fucked, no it's not. Well, since there's still over half an hour left of the movie, as he's about to get shot, a car just drives in and completely blocks the way, because I guess they do their executions by the road.
Johnson J. Johnson, your British Home Secretary has authorized the transfer of prisoner Patrick Smash into the custody of the United States government. Somebody untie this boy, God damn it!
it's bright out here. Johnson explains that he's from the government and he's just here to take Patrick away, and the prison's just all like, okay. Patrick and the agents drive away and they take him to a private plane where he has his own bedroom, which has a wardrobe full of green and black stripes because he can't wear anything else. The plane takes off and Patrick then goes to a meeting they organized, and bam, there's Alan. Alan explains why he got in the car and left is because the spacecraft from earlier in the movie got damaged while up in space, and they needed his genius to try and help them get back down, and now they need Patrick with his two stomachs to help them get back down, fulfilling Patrick's dream of going to space.
Yes, Patrick, you're going to be a spaceman.
Why do they need Patrick and his two stomachs? Because there was a malfunction with the engine and they don't have time to build a new one. Why couldn't they take Patrick at the same time they took Alan? Because why you gotta ask so many questions is why. Patrick is now taken to meet the spaceman general who loves jelly beans, and he explains that they've only got 24 hours to do this rescue mission. Also, this guy is kind of insane.
The good Lord has looked down from on high at those astronauts and has shed a single tear. Single tear has fallen to the earth and nourished a tiny seed. That seed has turned into a sprout. That sprout has borne a bud. That bud has brought forth a fruit. You're that fruit, son. Praise God.
Patrick agrees to help, and it was the best. Johnson raises his eyebrow and then gets Patrick to practice with the rocket engine.
Holy Mary, Mother of God!
Hot dog!
After that practice, now he's ready to go to space. Just like that. Suit him up and send him into space. He's now taken up to the engine room where he's connected to the rocket via a hole in the butt. But before they can take off, this guy realizes that there's a slight chance the rocket might malfunction a little bit during takeoff. That would make the entire rocket explode, killing everyone inside. And it's not even a small chance as well. According to this guy, he reckons there's a
79%.
A 1 in 5 chance of survival. So you think with that kind of chance they would just pull the mission all together? You know, it's not really worth risking Patrick's life and all the other astronauts on the rocket who I'm assuming are going up with him. You know, Patrick's just kind of like the engine. They even said earlier,
that boy in there has no stamina, no dexterity, no strength, and no experience. He's failed all the mental and physical tests in our lexicon.
there's no way they're expecting him to do the rescuing as well. So you think it just wouldn't be worth risking all of their lives to do this, you know? Well, actually, instead of pulling the mission, they give the decision on whether they want to go to Patrick. They let Patrick decide. Before Patrick makes his decision, he gives a little speech which is broadcast live around the world, and we see Patrick's mum and his sister just sitting there watching like, oh, there's Patrick, you know, I wondered where he went. We also see some of Patrick's old teachers and bullies, and we also see the second best tenor in the world eating out of a garbage can. What? When did this guy become homeless? He got away scot-free from the murder. In fact, he testified against Patrick, and now that that dude's dead, he's now the best singer in the world. Legitimately now. Why is he homeless? Well, obviously Patrick still wants to go ahead with the mission, so let's blow ass.
Let's blow ass!
So Patrick eats some sprouts and does a fart so strong that it sends the rocket into space. But oh no, the TV's going all staticky. I wonder if he'll be fine. Oh no, okay, he's fine. We then see Patrick in space for like 20 seconds just chilling in his little capsule. They land back on Earth, they throw him a parade, and it was the best day of his life. Ever. And that's the movie. As I'm recording this video right now, I have watched this movie 4 times. And I'm gonna have to watch a lot more of it again while editing this video. And I am absolutely 100% perfectly okay with that. The pacing is just so insane. Things just happen and happen and happen. The premise, as immature as it is, there's something just about so charming about how it comes off. And there's something I wanted to say about genuinely every scene that I just couldn't all cram into this one video. So I would absolutely recommend grab a couple friends, a couple drinks, get intoxicated however you like, and just enjoy the movie. Or even just, you know, home alone, wrapped in a blanket, sober. I still think as long as you're watching the movie, you'll have a great time. Ooh, speaking of great, here's a word from our sponsor. Hi there, it's me from the video you just finished watching, where we reviewed this movie. That's right, I found the case. And I'm very proud to say that this video was brought to you by today's sponsor. Enter your company name here. That's right, this video isn't actually sponsored, but it could be. So companies out there, listen up. Hi, it's me again, but in front of a green screen this time. That's right, that could be your company name emerging from these explosions right behind me. Pretty badass, huh? You know what else is badass? Monster trucks. Monster trucks with your name on them. And if that's not enough to get people to buy your product, then BAM! Still not convinced? Well, did you know if you used my very special and personalized code that I would make more money? And you would get a discount? It's a win-win. Especially for me. So what are you waiting for? Hurry up and buy the product and use my code. Seriously, my rent is nearly due, please hurry. So once again, I'd like to thank today's sponsor. I wouldn't have been able to make the video without them. Well, I mean, I did, but I could say that I couldn't. So to any companies who are out there who might be watching or listening, please sponsor me. I love money. Alright, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I forgot to record an outro earlier, so yeah. Subscribe for more continuity. Thanks.